Alrighty, so I guess just tell me a little bit about yourself and I guess why you reached out.
Okay. I am on Discord. I'm BisyBackson, and the idea here is to talk about Kefka, right?
Okay.
I A friend of mine sent me this in the DMs and was like, "Hey, bro, check this commander out." And I've been hooked from the actual moment of reading the card, despite English being only the only language I read. I can't read it well. Um, I've been hooked ever since. So. The My initial idea with the deck was to go into this fairly commander centric build, but as time went on and I started playing more and I started talking to a bunch of coaching with several different players that grind more than me, play more than me, and absolutely win more than me, just higher skilled players. More and more Grixis the deck became. And this is kind of where you came come in, is that I've reached out to, I think you're the third or fourth, I think the third coach. Um, and intentionally, all three of you, it is three, all three of you are very different in play styles, but all three of you win, right?
Okay,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
so I like to build things and then I want to break them and find their choke points
hmm
because that's only going to make them stronger.
Do you,
Um,
do you mind me asking who else you reached out to?
Sure, sure. Thunder Conductor. He is like his strong suit is politics and really like deck brewing.
Okay.
Um, and Bad Dog, he is known for Kalia. So his strong suit. If I'm gonna like put people in boxes, then his strong suit is Storm. Um,
Interesting.
and and he's been around the game for a very long time.
I
So.
I know those
Yeah.
guys pretty well. Yeah, I had a pretty interesting game with Bad Dog at Cradle to the Guild. I ended up winning that game. Not to say that I'm better than him. That's absolutely not the case. But yeah, those guys are really interesting. They're both very different than my style for sure.
Completely, completely. And I reached out to you on purpose
Mm.
because I know you've been playing wrong side pretty heavily. Really not pretty heavily. Let me back way up. You put wrong side on the map, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you did so in a space where I'm sure you heard 10,000 times you're doing it wrong. Why do this when you can just win, bro? Just win. Um, and I started there too. Uh, the first 3 weeks, I felt completely alone. It's a high power commander, and you listen to every content creator for those first couple weeks, just kind of shit on the deck because it's 5 mana and it's not Roxai. And I
hmm
was like, you guys aren't reading the card. Like, read the card. It has Titan text and says draw cards and rip apart hands. Um,
Yeah, Titan
so
text is one of the things I'm really like a big fan of on just any card. And I saw Kefka and I was like, oh wow, this is sick. Um,
it's so good. It's so nasty.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I guess like for the deck, um, a couple. I have a couple questions, but like just to
yeah.
address your point about like wrong side, sort of my history with that real quick. I'm not going to take too much time with it, but I
Oh,
started playing Rogsai, just regular turbo Rogsai, in the bands, and then um, I think I was quite like not quite experienced enough to do like the Nas and Necro lines to like its fullest capacity. So I
mhm.
started playing an offshoot where I pulled Necro and I was running things like Waste Not and Artist Talent and kind of
Nice.
focusing
Okay.
more on the wheels and like the flash speed wins with Flood Collar and stuff like that. I ended up getting third in a pretty large tournament with that deck. I was top four, obviously, but in my top four, I just basically could not get a good hand. And in my top four, I drew basically like land, fierce, swat, and rollick, and that was my entire game plan. So like I could not advance past that. So like there's tons of variance in the game and stuff, but like I felt like the deck was solid. I played it for a while in that iteration of it, and then put it down after the bans a little bit. I was like, okay, like it doesn't have the speed or explosivity anymore. And then I was just like really enjoying, like after Snowy Summit, I met or watched Freedom Waffles game with Kinnan, and Jason was in that game, where they had a like nearly 3 hour, 4 hour round one, and I was just watching Freedom Waffle play the stack and like bury stuff on the stack because he had Ristic and Tithe and Flash Enablers and stuff in Kinnan. And I'm like, what other decks can do this? And I'm like, of course the answer is Rogsai, because it's hyper card efficient, makes a lot of mana, that kind of stuff. And then really adapted that play style into Rogsai and played it for a while, kind of silently, brewed it. It was kind of a joke, or like a cope list for a while. I was like, oh, the bans happened, whatever. And then like I got to a point where I wasn't really losing on the deck at all, and like the deck would just do absolutely busted things. And I was like, yeah, your point was exactly right. Like people were telling me I was playing the deck wrong and stuff like that. And so yeah, I just called it wrong side. I'm like, I don't care if I'm playing the deck wrong, but like, here, watch me top 10 a tournament, like a massive tournament on it.
Yeah.
So I would say my advice for you, it seems like you've had maybe a little bit of the same experience, and is try to trust yourself as a brewer and a deck builder. And if something feels right to you, or like feels like it works, then just play it. Like there's cards that are bad, right? But getting second opinions and like eyes on a deck is always worthwhile, but especially in an official capacity like this. So
yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here for second eyes. No one is going to convince me off this deck. Sorry,
yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what I said about Kefka on Twitter yesterday.
I don't have Twitter, but no,
okay.
No. What'd you say?
So I said, here, let me just pull it up real quick. I had said, okay. I said, here's, this is unrelated to you. Like we didn't even have this like scheduled out or anything, but I was just thinking about Kefka. I said, here's my hot take for the day. I said, Kefka is a really interesting and nuanced deck that most people don't understand the full depth of. I said, it has a higher skill ceiling than the average deck, but most people will play to its floor because the commander says draw cards. And then I said, the average Kefka player will say like, ooh, I can get my opponent to discard their hand, and eventually like they'll be hellbent and I'll just win. I think in reality, this is a pipe dream. Most of the times you're just stripping people from like interacting, and then you're giving window to a more proactive deck. And then the last thing I said was the commander is not like a replacement for Blue Farm or Rogsai, but it has like a totally unique game plan and works on a different axis. And I also said that I've yet to see a build of Kefka that like truly shines. I said, but there's some potential there. I think the special sauce is like still missing.
I agree. Yeah. I think the floor that especially that I'm feeling, and I made a Discord called Kefka's Tower. There's a little over 700 people now.
Wow.
So there's yeah. I didn't know what I was doing, but a little bit of YouTubing, and then just saying like, I don't know what I'm doing. How does it work? It took off, right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different players in there that are brewing on a regular basis, so the development is happening rapidly. But I agree. Like I think that Kefka is like the card to me reads tempo. Like you resolve this 5 mana card, you draw 2-3 cards, and you make opponents discard 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that you need to lean in so heavy that you do try to aim for that what I'm calling maximum triggers, right? So you lean into this like I don't think you should lean into like trying to get five, six, seven triggers in a single turn cycle, because inevitably there's going to be that Rhystic Study over there, or there's going to be that Esper Sentinel, and that's going to negate one of those discards. And so you just draw two, and then you rip apart. Instead of three cards, you rip apart two.
Right.
Um,
Well, exactly. Like
and
if you're playing this against the highest level of player, the
yeah,
high level players right now are valuing draw engines extremely,
yeah,
extremely highly. Just to keep using the same word over and over again, but they're that's what people are valuing. Is like in wrong side, for example, I'm looking for that turn two heuristic almost every game. If not,
right.
then it's a fish or something. And like if a Kefka resolves, I'm like, okay, I'll just keep drawing cards. It's not of consequence to me.
It's not
Um,
a big deal. It
yeah,
really isn't. The card, like in my experience, draws on the same rate as like a Timna with two attackers, right?
sure.
Um, and so the games that my opponents don't have draw engines, it destroys those games. If you mold a four and you're hoping to live on the fish, you might draw two or three cards as I play my turn two Kefka, but that's all you'll get. Um, because it really, what the trigger does is it negates your draw per turn. You rummage your draw per turn.
Hmm.
So anything beyond that, you're going above and beyond the Kefka alone, the solo Kefka.
Yep.
Um, so this is kind of where I reached out to you specifically in this case. Is I know me as a player, I don't get enough games to get a good, how do you say that? Like a good handle on the reins of going from turn four to turn five. Or really, let me talk about that in stages. Going from the middle stage, that I don't want to use the word mid game.
Well, yeah.
It
I mean,
hurts my.
I think it's reasonable to frame like a game in certain ways. So like your early games, like turn 1 to 2. Mid game is
Yep.
kind of 3 to 4, maybe 5, but like late game is really 5 plus, right, or 4 plus.
Right, right. And each of those stages has like good card or correct cards to deploy and not deploy in those stages of
Hmm.
the game, depending on all those crazy factors, right? Um, I this deck, the more and more I played, and the more and more I talked to people, I set the deck up so that in the Christmas land I could win on turn one, I could comfortably win on turn two, but I really aim for that turn three window.
Right.
But I don't have to commit to it. I can chill. I also have a Ristic Study. I have the Clever, which is it could be a Kefka or it could be a Ristic.
Sure.
Um, uh, I can just chill and do the do I'm running Adnaz, I'm running Necropotence, I'm running the all the Grixis stuff, right?
Sure.
Um, I could chill, and that's fine. But I also know that the heuristic is that games end on turn five. So if I
Uh,
call turn five
I
and
would
turn six the
say
end game,
like having been in a lot of games, I'm thinking that you should start framing like turn 4 as like the turning the corner point right now.
right? There's my struggle. There's my struggle. Is I have a strong enough game sense for mulligans and turn, and I know what I'm doing. I have a game plan on turn one and turn two. Turn three is kind of tends to be this not watching and waiting, but like vibing with the table, right? Sometimes sometimes I'm the beatdown, sometimes I'm the control, and in that recognizing the role that I'm suddenly in, whether or not I wanted to, or things are going well. But turning the corner, I know my skill, not the cards, but my skill as a player struggle in that sense, and I
Hmm.
tend all of my game losses, except for very few so far, I will kill myself. I will overcommit, or I'll mull myself out of the game because I was looking for a particular card. Um, I or maybe like I'm working on this. Like, what do I what do I say to better like lead the table into not overcommitting to that resource or that kinnin that has Moonsilver out or something, whatever, right? That Thrasios that just put Crop Rot on
Hmm.
the stack. What do I say to ensure that I do get to that turn 4 where I know that attack trigger
So,
or that
so if your goal is to get to turn 4, I think we should take a look at your deck, and also just I do want to ask a couple questions. One,
yeah.
what is the most what draws you to Kefka versus something like Rogsai?
The inevitability of it. Like in Kefka in particular, I don't have Rixus doesn't need the Rograk. It helps, right? Um, Rograk makes those sack tech pieces extremely stupid. Like it turns on the Fierce and the Rollick. It does make about 6-ish cards. Insane. It's an insane card to have in your command zone. Absolutely. On the flip end, I can say that I could rock and roll with the Tremec and the Jason style blue farms, like what I call red farm, right?
Yeah, they're very proactive.
Yeah, I could rock and roll with that style of deck because of how much I modeled this deck off of those two decks in particular, your wrong side deck, and then Sharky's Fool's Gold deck, that Tevish Crom deck from a year or two ago.
Okay,
Um,
so yeah, I mean you're absolutely right with Rograk. You're getting access to 3 to 4 free spells, plus rituals, plus Mox Amber on turn 1.
yep,
You're also just getting like very high consistency and mana generation, along with like diabolic intent, and just it makes everything just that much like better. And
yeah,
free commander is good, right? But
recommend.
are you liking the speed of Grixis, or like the resiliency, or just like the play pattern? Like
Hmm.
what
I
aspect are you looking for in this deck?
I like the speed of Grixis a lot. It because it gives me I almost want to use the word like agency.
Yeah.
It gives me the options, the decision tree to say this mulligan that I got to choose, that I got to see, that I put in my deck does this thing in this pod, and that's what I want right now. Whereas if I'm playing Bant, or like I played Sisay for many many games, like 100, almost 200 games, right? The ban changed the way I play Sisay, and I'm no longer on like Planeswalker Sisay. I'm on a Pod Sisay actually.
Okay.
But what that deck did so well pre-ban was say, I will win on turn 3. You can't fucking stop me, right?
Sure.
Um, and what Grixis does, especially Rograk, right? Rograk makes 5 mana extremely easy, and Grixis operates on 5 mana. Um,
Right, but
it, it,
but
it
the problem I see here, and maybe this is at
yeah,
odds with what you're saying, is that your five
yeah,
mana is in the command zone. So
yeah,
either you have a temptation of, well, let's see, I can dark red plus 1.5 lands or whatever to make my 5 mana. Do I just play Kefka and then like see what happens? So I don't know what your play patterns are, but like while that's a game plan, I don't know that it's necessarily a good one. So not to say
don't
I'm
think I
not. This is
understand.
not me trying to convince you to like not play Kefka. No, I'm trying to figure
No,
out
no,
what
no, no,
I'm
no.
trying to figure out what you want to get out of the deck. Like what is attracting you, like what aspects of it that you're finding like are the most powerful, or most aligned with your play style. Because
That
I
on turn 2,
mhm.
I have all of the tools to make 5 mana, and on turn 3, I have all of the tools to close the game. I don't need to wait on a dork. I don't need to do this or that. But
Okay.
I also, because I have this draw engine in the command zone, this resource denial in the command zone, I could also do Remora, sit, pass, Kefka, turn 3, pass. Like I I can I can abuse this command zone in a different way than I can abuse a Rograk, and a Timna has a different type of abuse. Like
Okay.
maybe Delny or something like that
I
is the
I would
abusive.
be careful about uh, framing Kefka as resource denial. Um, yes, it does make your opponents discard cards, but like one discard per turn for each opponent is not resource denial at the highest level, generally speaking.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, I agree.
in fact, it could be an entomb for certain decks. It could be uh, getting your opponents to breach line faster. Um,
It could be. Absolutely.
things like that. So
It
I would just be
it
really
has all the
careful about.
same it has all the same negatives as a typical stacks piece, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Right. And
but
that's what I think we need to be careful about as we continue to like look at this list and frame like what your ultimate goals are. What I would suggest is if you could take this view here. First of all,
mhm.
can you disable your collection so you don't have all these like check marks and stuff on?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And then can you sort by just alphabetical?
Sort by name.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So I see a few cards that are at odds with each other. Namely,
Sure.
we can start with an easy one, which is cards like Hoarding Broodlord and Adnos. Uh,
Sure.
so um, I think Nas is a really good card, and if the deck is built correctly, can take advantage of it. Um, what I'm concerned about is uh, you don't have a Mox Amber thing to turn on like for free, so that's kind of a mild downside. Um,
Hmm.
you also have Hoarding Broodlord, which is a giant chunk of life.
Hmm.
If you manage to hit that, um, where are your scroll down to your artifact section?
Sure.
Okay, so we're on two talismans, Felwar and Signet. Okay, Imposter Mech. Three talismans. Okay.
Hmm.
So
We have the this, and then this is arcane. It's
yeah,
just in the
yeah. It looks like a fairly standard package, except for the fact that you're on five 2 mana talismans, and that, to me, those do not help convert Nas. They kind of do the opposite. Some help you filter your mana into the correct type, but you
yep.
shouldn't really need that many.
Okay.
So what I would consider probably like indulgence and creativity as flex slots, and then look for other ways to generate mana. I'm assuming you're on Dark Writ and Cabal Writ.
I'm on Dark and Cabal. Yes. Dark
Okay,
Cabal.
Culling the Weak
What
is
is another?
interesting. The these cards like Culling Weak is extremely strong in Rogue side because you have a guaranteed creature even for 1 or 0 or 2 mana, right? Um,
Yeah.
where in Kefka you don't necessarily have a guaranteed creature. You're only on 12, I believe, or 11.
One 11, 12. 12 is a 5 mana Kefka, right?
But looking at your package, the creatures that you are playing, which ones are you willing to sacrifice?
Any of them that win the game.
That is fair, but like,
I'm willing again I'm willing to attack Kefka to Coling. Like
but
if and then just reanimate it. That's fine.
yeah, but you also like
But
have to have a plan, uh, and like realistically, what I would say is the ones that you're willing to sacrifice here are Malevolent Hermit, Ragavan, and the OBM token. To be generous, maybe Harmonic Prodigy, but I'm talking about like culling is gonna get you there at maybe it'll get you to a Nas, right? And that maybe that's the goal
yeah.
is instant speed Nas. That's
I
fine,
think
but
what you're saying is that Coling does nothing in the early stages of the game to convert into a payoff. Is that correct?
culling is fine in later stages of the game to get you to a Nas, but there are, I you don't run a high enough density of creatures and you don't have a guaranteed creature. So I would say culling is probably not where you want to be.
Sure. Let's do this. I'm just duplicating real quick, and as we
Yeah.
chat, then I do that. Right. So we have this, and then we talked about indulgence and creativity real quick.
Mm-hmm. What's in your sideboard right now? Because we could just move these to sideboard.
Cards that I've tickled in my mind and considered, and like when I get on what do you call it, cockatrice, then you could kind of like swippy swap them out.
Yeah. So let's do this. Take those 2 cards out of your considering, put them back into the main deck. Move your sideboard to considering, and then move these 2 cards to sideboard.
I dig it. Okay. And then I go here, and it was culling. It was there. And then I can go up here to bulk, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Nope, sideboard.
Yeah, I just copy, cut. There you go. You got
it. And then we go back. We go here. We go.
And like this is the same reason, the same logic. You're probably not running Diabolic Intent.
Yep. Because I don't have the bodies.
Right. So
I chose mana. I think I do that a lot here. I choose mana over anything else because the color pie itself has the payoffs.
I think you're missing a incredibly strong ritual in Jessica's Will.
Yeah. I actually bounced. I was on it, I was off it, I was on it, I was off it, I was on it, I was off it. And the games, what the games tend to turn into is thank you, is if Kefka is online, it just solos the table, right? It just
even if it's not, it's a 3 mana, typically make like 7 or 8. Right.
It hasn't been in it has been in every single other list for whatever reason, not this one. I don't know if it's what I'm bumping into or again, this is why I talk to players that are have more experience, but what I'm noticing with Jessica's Will is that it's 3 mana make 3, or because it doesn't help cast Kefka, it's 3 mana flip 3 on a general average, right? Whereas before, like I played Roxai, I played like Blue's Clues is probably my favorite, one of my favorite Storm decks.
Sure.
I'm
not saying that you really have to be on Jessica's Will. I think the card's just really incredibly powerful. You're playing a commander-centric strategy, so you can even tutor for it, and I think it's like a decent tutor target.
It is. I agree. It's a super strong card.
It does like enable some lines where you can potentially breach plus Jessica's Will somewhat repeatedly in case you're not able to tutor, and hopefully it helps you get there. Things like that. So at least right now, let's consider it. Let's put it in and see if it stays.
Sure.
Okay.
It's just the card, right?
Yep. I'm liking Floodcaller and Thoracle, Spirit Guide, Bowmasters. Like those are all great. Harmonic Prodigy is fine. Going back to the Hoarding Broodlord and Nas conversation. Have you felt like Nas performed well, or is it something that is kind of like half in, half out for you? Or
no. I immediately post ban, Nas felt like garbage, right?
Right.
It was like I can't convert this, I can't do this or that. And then once I figured out that Nas is actually a 6 mana instant and not a 5 mana, I haven't dropped a game except for one where I was doing like a defensive Nas since it's been in the list. But what I did was I changed my play pattern from main phase turn 2 Nas to end of turn 3 Nas. So I go into my turn 4 with Nas in my hand.
Yeah, it's in this list. It's going to be really hard to main phase it.
Yeah. It's been terrible main phase. It was terrible. I felt terrible with it in Rogsai main phase, but once I was like, oh, this is actually a 6 mana instant and not a 5 mana instant. You need that extra card, or excuse me, that extra mana to do a thing with,
Hmm.
and playing it on an instep, um, you get to do the whole untap, hold in your upkeep, make a play if need be, play a land like that.
I
It's really hard to drop a game when you have 15 extra, 20 extra cards in your hand.
right, but I would be careful with this type of deck being in black
Yeah,
and just having a lot of ways to be proactive and just jamming things like Broodlord and Nas and whatever. You
yeah.
don't need that many. You have tutors, right? So you can just tutor for what you need. So I would probably pick one of the two.
Hmm. One of the two.
If
For
you,
me, it would be, I would, if I'm going for this let's just do this. For this exercise would be Broodlord. My reasoning be why I like well, I guess what it is I don't care about the let me talk the whole thing through. I don't care about Nas and Broodlord because I know that Broodlord's an 8 mana card and I just have to stop on 9. Right? Instead of stopping on 6 because of the Force of Will, I stop
sure.
on 9 because of the Broodlord.
I actually think that
Uh,
Nas is probably less powerful here than in Rogsai. Um,
yes, it is.
so I was
Because
gonna
of
recommend like staying on the Broodlord plan because you
okay.
have Entomb, you have Reanimate, you have Animate Dead. Like those feel really powerful. Also, Saw in Half. Um,
Yeah, Song Half is nasty.
a way that you could be more proactive is add Dualcaster because we're on Jessica's Will. We have like really good ways to make that red that's required.
Hmm.
Dualcaster also gives you really interesting ways to interact at instant speed, even if you're not using it to combo.
Despite it being a 3 mana fork, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah,
the,
but your deck
the
makes mana, right? Like it's the mana is not if you can make 5 mana for Nas, you can make 3 mana for Dualcaster.
1,000, right? That's I how do I say that? Every deck can make 3 mana, but the besterer decks, the top 16 decks, don't run a 3 mana fork, regardless of how much mana they make.
Um, sure, some of them don't. Like this goes back to the conversation of I'm trying to figure out what you want to do with this. To me, it seems like
Mm.
you can. There's a slightly more creature focused build here because keep in
Yeah.
mind they are harder to interact with. Um,
Yep.
you you already have Saw in Half, so you've got that piece. You can do Saw in Half Dualcaster, and then oops, I have infinite Dualcasters and I win the game. Um,
Yeah.
there's
Uh,
that kind of stuff, and also Jessica's Will. Oops, I ripped a Dualcaster, and then like you just have to tutor for the other piece, and then all of a sudden you win. Um,
yeah.
you have Beseech. You can
Hmm.
kind of do some weird things with Beseech and the Dualcaster if you have instant speed. Um,
Oh, sure.
I believe Dualcaster is also a wizard, correct?
It is. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're on Cavern.
Of course.
Right.
Gotta be on Fiverr.
Um, there's also this really interesting card called Step Through that I am a really big fan of in this kind of archetype.
Yep.
So
And
what I'm
the
getting at
two
is
mana.
if you pull off Nas and you're less worried about your life total, you can still be on the Necro plan because Necro doesn't really interact poorly with any of these cards. Um,
Hmm.
this could potentially like be a really good way. Also, you're on Reanimate and Animate Dead and Necromancy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Necromancy
All
lets
three.
you try to Dualcaster again at instant speed.
Yes. Yes.
So like
Um,
I think there's a lot of synergy here that maybe was just overlooked because you're like you I the way I saw the list when you first showed me this was that you're trying to fit multiple archetypes into one deck.
yeah, that's fair. That's actually really fair. I am trying to fit multiple archetypes into one deck. I'm trying to uh storm because regardless of the command zone, I'm trying to storm because I'm in black red.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and ultimately that's how I kill the table. And
If
and
that's
then
the case, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
uh,
Go ahead.
and then recognizing that it's ex it has been extremely easy to say either A, turn to Ristic, turn to Remora, turn to Kefka, turn to Nas, or turn to Broodlord, like
Mm-hmm.
having those options, and then either acting on them or not, depending on my seed and the mole and the blah 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 blah, right? Um,
Right.
just
And with Nas, you're essentially you have a way to be proactive without your commander, and obviously it's
yeah,
better with your commander. But
yeah,
we don't want to remove ways to be proactive without your commander. We're just looking for alternate ways to win without. And Dualcaster is obviously a way you don't care whether Kefka's there or not. You know, it doesn't
yeah, not
matter.
at all, not at all.
Um, step through is a card that you can also just put mana into. It's 2 colorless to wizard cycle at instant speed. It doesn't have to be at sorcery speed. And then you've got wizards in Harmonic Prodigy, VV, Flood Caller, Thassa's Dualcaster. So
Yep,
that's your toolbox. I think Hermit's a wizard too, right?
Hermit's a wizard
Yep.
on both sides actually.
Yeah. So that's part of your toolbox there is that um, not that you would ever tutor for step through necessarily, but early game, if you happen upon it, you can either pitch it to Force of Will or just say, I don't know, I have this Grim Monolith I'm not really doing anything with.
Yeah, it does actually increase the total tutor count, which I've been disturbingly light on because I'm not playing intent in particular in the sorcery. I know a lot of people are on council as well. Um,
I think Council is a bit of a stretch here. It relies too much
I
on Kefka uh,
yeah,
being out.
I don't enjoy it. Real quick, let
Mm-hmm.
me jump over. I'll pull this into view, but this is like a a creature brew that creature focused Kefka E focused brew that I was tinkering with, and then I tinkered with some of the peeps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would be this was a me saying five mana draw 10 is still good enough, but in the spirit of our conversation, that would be a cut, right? But the basics is that this package works with and without Kefka, right? Um, goes probably the other basics is that these creatures are the most
I think I'm still only
Kefka.
seeing the one list that you were on here.
Oh, huh. Let me how do I
I might just need to make a
let's
new
just
tab or either way.
I have a new tab, but let's go. It's called Fire Takes. Um, yeah, so the idea behind this was put in all the best Kefka enablers, but and by best I mean the ones that have the maximum amount of triggers on maximum possible triggers on one turn.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care if Kefka exists. So Rionia and Kitten, assuming you magically have infinite mana somehow, they produce infinite Kefka triggers and
Sure,
default,
but
right?
you can strip your opponent's hands and then draw a bunch of cards. That
Yes,
generally wins you
yes.
the game. It doesn't always
Yeah,
though.
it doesn't always. It doesn't always. I've found that three Kefka triggers feels like I'm winning the game, in a total game, like three total Kefka triggers feels like I'm winning the game,
Hmm.
based off of like what is essentially draw six,
Right.
however many turns that cost. But and then Go-Go is a I don't know, semi-controversial here, but
It's interesting.
Go-Go is, yeah, is one of those cards that says if you're doing the Kefka thing, then it's three triggers on one turn.
So what I think you
Um,
should focus on, and I'm going to go back to this, go back to your other list, and while I
sure.
talk about this, I
Yeah.
think the Kefka plan is real, right? But
Yeah.
the cards that you need to run to enable Kefka shouldn't be weird. They should be able to be played by themselves in the shell
Sure.
without um, without actually
If I'm
playing Kefka. Or like if Kefka gets counter, you're behind a Drannith. Like what do you do with like Go-Go or Rionia?
They become something else, right? So Rionia, maybe it becomes I make two or three kitten triggers, or two or three of whatever other creatures on
Sure.
board.
Yeah, yeah,
Two or
but you
three
don't have like
Bowmasters.
you don't like have ETB, like you have Bowmasters, sure, but you don't really have ETBs and you don't have a large creature package. So
Yeah.
we kind of need the creatures to be standalone and do things on their own. One card that I was going to suggest, and I don't know if it's going to fit necessarily, but because we're not on Nas, we can run these other creatures such as Stormkill and Artist.
Yeah, I've actually was tickling with Stormkiln. Oh, it's not in the considering anymore. Yeah, yeah. Stormkiln has been heavy, heavy on my mind. Where are you, buddy? Well, fine, I'll type it in because I have the keyboard. Stormkiln has been on my mind. Just it just uh, like the category mana battery is kind of what I put in, like a professional facebreaker and a Timna, or
So yeah,
a mana dork.
the interaction with Stormkill and Facebreaker is extremely positive. The other one I would recommend is Facebreaker, and what we can do is cut. I really don't want to add a ton to your creature package. So
Mhm.
in order to maintain things being proactive and like pushing you in the right direction, I would recommend cutting Impersonator, Metamorph, potentially Malevolent Hermit.
Personator Metamorph. Unless I'm actually, for this conversation, I'm not married to anything. I could cut them both. They're just cards.
Yeah, let's try cutting those three blue ones and see where that leaves us.
Oh, I meant to put that in sideboard and then in sideboard.
Yeah, we can go pull it out later. It's fine.
Yeah, and then
Um,
we're adding Giphy.
yeah, and so you're aware of the treasure ability with Facebreaker, right?
Yeah, yeah. The dig a little bit deeper, please.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. And it's
so
it's not just a
so
little bit
does
deeper, but with Stormcone, and you can actually brain freeze and win with brain freeze and Facebreaker.
hang on. Oh, okay. You point at the triggers at yourself. You get a bunch of treasures.
Not
Those
even at
treasures rip.
yourself. You don't necessarily have to, because if you don't have breach, you don't want to mill your breach.
Okay, so we're not talking about pivoting into an oracle then.
Uh, well, we could do
All right.
that too,
How
but
about this? Explain what you mean
it
by
gives you
how.
flexibility. So if you're able to generate sufficient storm triggers, or there's a stack war happening, you have a storm kiln, you can just cast one of these storm spells, such as Flusterstorm
Mhm,
or Brain Freeze, and generate a
mhm.
massive amount of treasures.
Just for the cuz.
Yep.
Okay,
And like whether it actually ends up winning you the game or not, that's up to the rest of your deck, and like if you have a tutor or what you can do with it.
I can
But
dig it.
if anything else, it gives you Facebreaker gives you somewhere to put those treasures that moves it into card advantage.
I dig it. I understand.
So
Um,
the other thing I would consider is I see Chain of Vapor as a staple and pretty much uncuttable in Grixis. Um, it also has
really?
a positive interaction with Stormkill, where when you copy Chain of Vapor, it triggers Stormkill.
Maybe it's my Sisay I've been talking people off of chain. Um,
Well, ideally, like
just
you're using chain on your own rocks and your own things. Like if you fail a dual caster line, you can pick up dual caster and try again.
sure,
Or if you fail Thassa's Oracle, you can pick it up and try again.
sure. In those cases, wouldn't you just use essence flux? Because it can also be it has the other mode of it cantrips or it double OBMs or XY
Mm,
or XY or XY.
I mean, OBM already works with Chain of Vapor. I think Chain just allowing you to pick up your own rocks, or you can even pick up Underworld Breach if you're, you know, if it's you're having to pass to end step. It's Chain is just extremely flexible. I think part of I like almost never cut Chain from a deck, especially in Grixis. It's so incredibly strong, and
Mhm.
now we're not having to rely on our lands as much. So being able to copy it and continue to do those things is very very powerful.
Sure.
I do
So
like Reign of Filth. Go ahead. Go ahead.
a quick recap. What we've done is effectively add a tutor, mana, and a small bit of card advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even call this spot removal. This is mana and
Right.
storm count. Um, okay.
So are you using Offer as mana advantage, or are you using that as a generic counterspell?
This was a leak, actually. I was on Snapback until a heartbeat ago. This was in there with Snapback.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Uh,
that's what makes sense to me is something with like
yeah,
snapback where you can, um, yeah. So
yeah.
I
This
think
was
that's
the
kind of up
leak.
to you is whether
I
you
don't
keep those
like
things or not.
this. No, I don't like it without Snapback.
Okay.
Um, I think if I remember my counts correctly, I think, what was it? Malevolent and Offer would put me at 10 counter spells without two, three, four, five,
Do you
seven,
do
eight.
you find like putting a certain number of counterspells in your deck is important to you?
No, I'm just replicating what winning decks and players are doing.
Okay.
Seems to be 12 to 13 is how, or not how, is what is getting into those top four seats, and I have no desire to ever lose a game of Magic ever again in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I understand that. I think that if you're leaning more proactive with these lines, then um, something has to go
Counterspell.
at some point. Not to say that we need to just like start cutting counter spells and all that, but
Will, you convinced me. Force of Will's gone. It's done.
no, I think. Are you sorted by mana value again?
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
You sort of
Saying if
sorry.
you're paying attention.
I know that not everyone works this way, but it's easiest for me to just I'm like, oh, I know where
No, I
everything
understand.
belongs.
Yeah.
Um, I hope you don't mind that I'm like pushing you in this proactive direction, but I think this is where the meta is going right now. Is these lists are a lot tighter and they're just there's a couple concise lines and or they overlap a little bit.
Mhm.
Um,
No, I don't mind. I'm asking for your advice and help. That's why we're here.
mhm.
You're not offending me at all. So,
One other kind of strange interaction with Stormkiln is that
Mhm.
if you have a flare of duplication and somebody's flaring something, you can generate infinite mana by casting a flare on their flare, copying flare, and then targeting your copy of flare on their flare. And
And flaring to flare to flare to flare.
yep, you generate infinite mana.
That's cool.
Uh,
That's cool.
it sounds niche, but it's not really that. It's like it comes up more often than you might think.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
and usually that like leads you to winning the game, right? Because while you don't have an infinite mana outlet in the zone, you do have a mana outlet in the zone.
Yeah.
I think that
I
flipping
have flipped
Kefka is very
once.
real.
Yeah, it is. It is. I flipped once. I there's players that have. I think Samurai Dancer is the one player that I'm not going to say he flips on a regular basis, but I think he's flipped more often than everyone else. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, this flip does matter. It's just not the goal,
I
but
mean,
it's
Jessica's
there
will
because
is a way to flip it, right?
yeah, yeah. I think he's been flipping with Vivi in particular.
Well, and then yeah, there's a positive interaction there with Vivi and the backside of Kefka.
Yeah, no, it's not just through the rest of the text. It's simply that Vivi maybe it says four, so you go four, flip Kefka for four. It's that,
Well,
right?
no,
Of
no,
course,
not only that, but
there's the
it's
positive
when they
side.
deal the one damage, you draw cards.
Yeah, and then there's that. Yes, exactly.
Like I
And
said, yeah,
what I mean
that's
is
what I
it
mean. There's
makes it
a
possible. It makes it way more possible than you would think to flip Kefka by
right,
accident. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we got 98 cards. I guess that means we had add-ons, right?
Let's before we do anything else, do you want to take a look? Let's. I think your instance, or sorry, your sorceries are pretty good. Yogg's will gives me pause.
Yeah, people don't. Yeah, this is Underworld. This is Underworld Breach number two. I guess I'm not on Broodlord anymore, so it makes less
You are on
sense.
Broodlord.
Where? Oh, it's the the mana value. Yeah, actually, this is I don't have Savine's Wreck. So I can't rip a breach out of my yard, but I can still play with my yard with Yogwell.
But do you need it now that we're kind of shifting directions? Because what I'm giving you or what we're adding is another hard win line, right?
With
So we've got Breach,
with
we've got Thassa's Oracle, and now we're adding Dual Caster. So is there a world in which Yogg's will is actually necessary?
mm, mm,
I think there's ways we can shore up or add the necessary pieces. Um,
necessary.
I think the one piece that we need to add is Molten Duplication.
Molten duplication. We're turning back the clock.
I know,
Well,
I know. This isn't where I thought we were gonna head with this, but the fact that I saw like Broodlord and stuff in your deck, I'm like, okay, well you've got Saw in Half, you've got all this. I think this kind of lines up well. Molten Dupe is a decent card because it gives you a copy of Kefka, gives you a copy of Facebreaker, you can copy Stormkill, Harmonic Prodigy, all
mhm.
those things, but also, of course, it combos with Dual Caster.
Yep. All of those cards were in my first iterations of the list, and what what I was experiencing was Molten Duplication was a phantasmal image. I would pay two, and then I'd get a copy of something,
Mm-hmm.
or I was discarding it. And Dual Caster Mage was a three mana fork, um, and
But you have
I think
sufficient tutors at the moment where
yeah,
you should be able to convert these into a win. Um, I,
just tutor for the winning piece as opposed to using the card individually.
yeah, and just because something enters your hand doesn't mean you need to use it. You can sit on cards. Like if you happen upon a
Yeah.
molten dupe, like I'm probably not going to use that unless I see some sort of angle where I can like, oh, I need to make a second facebreaker to get enough treasures to get my win through, right?
Sure. Yep.
Um, Otherwise, I'd just sit on molten dupe and go, well, I have an artifact, and we'll just see if I can find a dual caster, or
Yep.
let's see how I can angle to find a dual caster.
That the second piece where these two pieces got cut is I like Blue Farm. I deploy in the second main far more often than the first main.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I develop in the second main. That's what the word I'm looking for. But it's here. We got Dualcaster, we got Molten, we got Dualcaster Saw in Half, we have Harmonic Dualcaster plus goodies. We have
Hmm.
Step Through to find
One, two,
the toolboxy pieces, right?
three,
One,
four,
two.
five, six, or
Yeah.
five creatures. Five creatures.
Basically find everything besides professionals. These four cards,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Um. Okay. So I think Yogswill is a card that I'm generally a fan of. Uh, I'm not running it right now in wrong side. I am running it in Glarb, but Glarb does a really good job of just like stacking the yard and then not having a breach. So because I
Right.
don't have breach, I'm like, well, I need some way to like turn the corner or whatever.
Yeah, you'll
That
take
usually
weaker
helps.
breach over nothing, right?
Right, 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 right. Okay, so looking at sorceries, I think we're pretty solid. We've got all the standard tutors. Got Gamble, Jessica's Will, Mnemonic Betrayal. I see is pretty uncuttable in tournament play, especially for games that just
It's
go long.
it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Talk to me about March of Swirling Mist.
It shouldn't be here. This is a placeholder for a test card in that new 0 point ballad.
Let's go.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That card's really
yeah,
cool. Let's placeholder it in the sideboard.
placeholder and sideboard. Um, the what I've been dancing around, most of my list changes have been what do you call it? That pivoting around between one or two board wipes versus the like the medium green decks. I toyed with Toxic, and Toxic is just it's just a good card, right?
Hmm.
Um, I really enjoyed Fire Magic, in particular for mode one,
Hmm.
just to say like your Spring Heart tokens and your rats and your whatever the hell you're doing, your Lothos, your Espers, your OBMs, they don't matter. And then what was the other one I toyed with? Fire Covenant was one.
I like Fire Covenant here. If you are requiring a board wipe, I think that's a really good choice. Especially we're not on Nas right now, so
Sure.
not using our life total is, and then also just having. We're presuming that we're going to have more mana than what we had before because of things like Stormkill or Facebreaker.
Sure.
Um,
I think one and and then you this is a question. I think
mhm.
one is the bare bones requirement for tournament play.
Oh, really? Because I
Is that
run none in wrong side.
do you get enough OBM triggers to like
No,
I guess what
I
it
just
is
run
all the
faster. I just run
you
faster
just go
than.
faster.
Yep.
Sure.
And
I
I'm
see.
not
I
saying
see.
that this deck is the right. That's the right answer for this deck because I don't think this deck has that. This deck is probably a full turn slower than Roxai. So
100%. I don't care what build you're on.
right,
Like
I'm not
it is
advocating for you
slow.
to run zero board wipes. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I think one is probably the correct number because again we have tutors. We can tutor for what we need. We also
Yeah.
should have sufficient card draw. So just happening upon one should be not that
Right.
big of a deal. You have Flood Maw as
Right.
well, so you can just spot remove what you need to.
Right on.
Um,
They added zero to the game. That's kind of cool.
yeah,
It
it's an
wasn't there
interesting
a couple
card.
hours ago.
It's
Yeah,
a sorcery though.
it is a sorcery, and it is weaker than Toxic, but it has the X upside of being, uh,
A reanimate.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next thing that was on my questions, I like Entomb. I like that sort of plan. What how are we feeling about limb duels?
Mm, it was this is intent because I don't run intent. I wanted another tutor option on a stick. And I also my problems with my list have been is mulling myself out of the game. Like the games that I keep sixes and fives, I feel nearly unstoppable. And most of my game losses, I've mulled to two or three. Um, and limb duels is like a game plan on a card.
When you're mulliganing,
In a sense.
what are you looking for? At least in your previous
Turn
version of the.
to engine. Turn to engine. I don't care what it is. If it's a Necro, great. If it's a Kefka, great. If it's a Ristic, great. I'm looking for turn two engines. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and since the Broodlord edition, I'm okay with that like Christmas Land, Entomb, Reanimate, Dark Ritual type of a plan, but that's that assembly of the four cards in my hand. I don't actually look for. I just pay attention to see if it's possible.
Okay.
But that's why the Lindles is
I
here.
think Facebreaker is going to fix a few of your problems, especially for mulligans, because
Yeah,
what it represents is like turn 3, 5 mana essentially, or really close to it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's the sweet spot, I think.
and whether
Right?
it's a turn 2 engine or like let's say you get a turn 2 Facebreaker, that's kind of representing a turn 3 Kefka. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't know that Limb Duel's Vault is a card that I would see as fixing your mulligans.
in the same sense, like a wheel. No, no, no. It doesn't do that, but it does.
But
I
like
see what you're saying.
Windfall
Yeah,
kind of does.
Windfall kind of does.
I'm presuming you're also on Waste Not. We haven't even looked at the enchantments yet.
No, I'm not. I'm on Waste Not in my paper list because Derp, a player
I
in
know
the
him.
Discord. Yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
He's my
So I
local.
told
Yeah, I
him
know him.
I told him I'd give him 50 games. I looked at Waste Not and Tiny Bones as like, great if you're already winning. Like if you're already doing the Kefka thing, then they're amazing. But if you're relying on the Waste Not because your opponents are sculpting hands, then you're probably behind.
It's pretty
I
low
so
impact though, as far as like mana
that's
cost
where it was at.
goes.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not saying that
So
this is not an indication that you should be on Waste Not, but I think it does work well and it curves well into Kefka. So you
it
could
does.
turn 1 Waste Not, turn 2 like Facebreaker or something, and then Kefka, right? And then you're
Turn three.
sorry,
I guess
turn 3.
Kefka, is the way the second way I've died is tapping out for Kefka and then losing that rotation.
Exactly, and that was one thing I was going to bring up was I do like these like larger monolithic commanders. I do play a bunch of them, but yeah, that turn that you play the commander, they have to have some sort of impact, or you have to like not tap out for them, or otherwise you just don't play it.
Exactly, exactly. Um, uh, Even if it's been a big kick to the gut, I have flared Kefka the same rotation I played it. So
Yeah,
either A, give me the untap, or B, capitalize from playing behind, like a Chord of Calling, or I've actually flared Adnaz a few times with Kefka at this point. But yeah, I think the free interaction, like just looking at not just even my brew, but all Kefkas, is going to be it's such a choke point. So turn three Kefka has felt really slow to me, but I also
sure.
didn't have these pieces that,
Well, and
that
then one thing we can try to fix is that sort of turn 3, and we can try to push it up towards turn 2. I think probably the best way to do that is because Kefka has a large colorless cost. Is add 1 or 2 of the keys.
Okay. And then just do some low key magic, huh?
I mean, I don't know
Soaring
how you
and
like what your experience is with those cards, but I see Grim Monolith, Soul Ring, and Mana Vault, right? And then we have a lot of cards that cost big colorless, like even Saw in Half is probably a good example. That's two colorless that could be paid for or negated. Wish Claw is essentially 2 colorless.
Yeah.
Kefka's 3, right?
It's 2, but yeah.
If you have to hard
3.
cast a Hoarding Broodlord. Oh, sorry, Kefka's 2, right? Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. But yeah, there's plenty of 2s and 3s and basically ways to make the Soul Ring, the Grim, and the Vault. Where are you? The Vault more better, more ritualistic, right?
I think Manifold's a straight upgrade over Voltaic.
Thank you for reminding me of the other name of the card. That was a question I was holding on to. Yeah. There we go. Let's just boop you down there.
So yeah, I think 1 is fine. 2 might be too much.
I think if I get on the 1 ring, 2 makes sense. Some more sense.
That's true. And 1 ring is also a good place to put all of that colorless.
Yep.
So at this point, like, because we're leaning more proactive, you might consider cutting Force of Negation.
Despite our free mana conversation, let's do it.
I just said consider it, but yeah, you can cut it.
Nope, it's gone. I don't even know where it's at anymore.
Yeah. You want to add the 1 ring?
Let's do it. We go 1 ring, which I have it somewhere in my pile of goodies. There you go, buddy.
And consider that if you're looking for these ways that you have a engine on turn 2, you just added another draw engine. Like, the 1 ring is incredibly powerful. You essentially draw 3 by your turn that after you play it.
Yeah.
And while it's like not a super great rate, it's about the same rate as Kefka.
Yeah. It's just about. I cut it way back when the 2 cards were contending. Whereas like I'd have a ring in my hand and I'd have a Kefka cast. I'm like, well, I'll cast the Kefka. It's turn 2 regardless. That's actually probably something that most lists are doing really well. Is it's not that hard to put this down on turn 2, if that's the plan that you've gone with, right?
Right.
Especially those
turn 2
people that
Kefka's
are on
fine.
Pyretic.
Yeah, Pyretic or Desperate. They definitely help. But I think that in order for the deck to be successful or for it to have success the way you want it to, it needs to stand on its own. Like, I would almost recommend not playing Kefka for a couple games, right? And it's just seeing how the shell performs.
I'm down. And what you're saying makes sense. I've been telling, as much as I've talked about the card Kefka, I care more about these colors than I do about the card. The card being there just means that should the game go long, I have a stupid engine in the command zone.
Yeah. Well, I play a deck that's similar to this in a lot of ways. It's called Satya. It's a MH3 Precon commander, but it's in Jeskai colors. And the commander doesn't inherently do anything. At least not as far as like the winning the game thing or like the drawing cards thing. But most of the time I find myself just playing the shell, and Satya sits in the zone and like doesn't do anything. And that's fine, because what I use Satya for is I will play like an Esper Sentinel, and if I'm unable to really get there, I'll start cloning my Esper Sentinel, and I'll start making more Esper Sentinels and drawing more cards and drawing my win cons and drawing things that I need to play the game. Where I think that's what kind of Kefka, the best plan for Kefka is right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Rionia does that at sorcery speed. Granted, Satya keeps those tokens, right?
It can. It depends on the cost of those creatures, but yeah, I guess just the example is, I mean, Satya is very similarly costed as Kefka. It's 4 mana, but it's like 1 and Jeskai. And then runs a lot of the same style cards like Facebreaker and stuff like that.
Okay. I got rid of that. And then, okay. So I would still mull for an engine.
Mm-hmm.
The engine hasn't really. We added one actually. Well, I guess we added 2 in a weird way.
Waste Not, I'm not entirely sure about, and like we're not on Windfall, but in order to kind of round out Waste Not, I'd probably swap Limb Duels for Windfall.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do that. I've been wanting to add a second wheel anyway.
And that kind of rounds out your OBM experience.
Yep.
And then, yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a way to copy a tithe, but should we be able to, that might be something we need to look into.
Yeah, Fiverr's gone, and I'm not on Steal or Copy or Ristic Buddies. I'm not on any of the Ristic Buddies.
Can you talk to me about Animate Dead and why you're on 3 reanimate effects?
It was the deck leaned more into Broodlord beforehand. And then what I was finding with these 2, kind of like the dual caster mage, where it's like I was more often using it on independently as opposed to, like I was using them outside of combos on a fairly regular basis. And so I was always on Necromancy for like the VFC Oracle lines.
Yeah.
But Animate Dead, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take that Bloom Tender, or I'll take that Esper Sentinel.
I see Animate Dead as the weakest of the 3 that you have right now. We're on Reanimate, Animate Dead, and Necromancy. It's kind of the middle child. It is strange. That would give us a flex slot to add something like Mirror Maid.
Mirror. What? Just for myself and the fans at home. Why Mirror over Steel or over Clever? Why not pay the? Where's Clever? Oh, it's in the junk here. But why not Clever? Copy Kefka or any of the same targets that Mirror does.
I think if you're copying Kefka, you lose the game. Like I don't think it gets you there. Not for 4 mana.
Okay. And then, so what about
and not inherently lose the game, but I think you were like, that is a losing proposition, is what I'm trying to say. Mirror Maid is the one that has the most powerful effect despite the casting cost. If it were me running this list, I'd be on Mirror Maid's Copy, Steal, Enristic, and Mystic, but like I'm a degenerate, so that's not something I would recommend for everyone. But this is not necessarily the card I would say put in that slot that we just took out, but it's one that I would start to consider is like, if you're wanting a way to be a little bit more dynamic and flexible, it is a really good clone. Clever Impersonator is ultimately better than Mirror Maid, but it does cost more.
I don't know where I put Clever. It's gone forever.
I think you put it in. It's a creature.
Creature. Oh, it's the mana value thing. I keep looking at the middle of the pack there.
So you could run Clever if you wanted to. I think Mirror Maid's just a little tighter, a little like early game. You can get a Mirror Maid off and just copy like Mirror Maiding an Esper Sentinel. It feels a little better than like
Clever.
Yeah.
That's a really tough Clever. A tough Mirror Maid too, but.
And also in like when I start to look at Clever Impersonator, I'm like, why are we not running Displacer Kitten if we're gonna put that 4 mana slot?
Sure.
Not saying that we need to be running Displacer Kitten, because I don't think that's the case, but
yeah.
All right. I think before we do anything else, let's take a look at your land package.
Oh yeah. I could change this to whatever art you need, but
no, this is fine.
Okay.
So I'm assuming we're all on the we're on shocks, and
Yep.
are you on 9 fetches?
Maybe. Huh. Why don't I know that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why 8? What was I thinking? What changed?
You might have slotted one in
Oh,
for starting town or something.
that might have been it. 'Cause this is the new sexy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
If
7.
you want to be really consistent, I would slot a fetch over.
It is 9.
Okay.
It is 9.
Okay.
This polluted delta is in a different art than the rest of the fetches.
Oh, I see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9. I've got both the shocks. We got Steam Vents, Watery Grave, and uh Crypt. We got the three duels, the 3 shocks. I think the oddballs, or so to speak, are Arena and Mistrise and Morphic Pool. I don't know. I haven't run opponent lands for almost a year and a half, so
I think that's fine.
I just
My questions are Arena and Mistrise. Are they performing well for you? Do you like them?
I do. Yeah. Arena, I'm gonna say like 9 out of 10 times. It's just a mountain. Um like it's mountain with some upside.
Mm-hmm.
On Really honestly, it's a mountain with some upside. Mistrise is broken. And especially in concert with Cavern.
Mm-hmm.
Um I I don't know how this made it past R&D. I don't understand that one.
Mm-hmm.
Starting town has starting town is just mana confluence. I like it. It's just mana confluence.
Yeah, I think starting town's fine. What I was going to recommend is over something like Exotic Orchard, you could probably run Sink into Stupor.
Oh, that's right. We're not doing the life total thing.
Sink is a way. It's powerful. Not the spell casting part, but the fact that it's a land that can also pitch to Chrome Mox and Force of Will
Mhm.
is just incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
I don't really see any issues with the city. I think city's fine.
yeah. I tend to run it with that higher 2 mana rock thing, but I guess we do. We talked about all those colorless, the saw,
We kind of
the
added
step.
more 2 mana rocks with like Facebreaker, and we also added things like Manifold Key and
I
One
dig
Ring.
it. And ring, yeah, yeah. Okay, it stays. I like it.
Um,
Um,
Arena, I don't know. You might consider Manamo, but
Interesting.
that's like a very minimal thing.
Yeah.
It's,
Um, Anamo, it
Arena's
reads
actually good.
legendary.
Arena's actually fine because we're on Facebreaker. We can use it to cast the Facebreaker
Yeah,
and Ragavan.
and Ragavan. And everything else I don't care if it attacks.
Right.
Um, and then Manamo's upside is
We're on One Ring, but
okay,
that's kind of like a pipe dream. Like you would never tutor for Manamo.
right.
Okay, so before we make any other changes or any other considerations, let's do just like a quick scrolling review. Um,
Hmm.
how are you feeling about the way things sit right now?
I think I turned. Nothing is crazy here. This is all stuff I've thought about or has been in and out of the list in some kind of pieces. Every single one of these cards, right?
Hmm.
Except for Key. Key is one that I hadn't thought about for this list, but I'm not afraid of it. And what what I'm feeling about the list is that I wonder if it still has like turbo viability, or if it's simply this list is far more consistent at being a turn 3, turn 4 deck, as opposed to having the peaks and valleys of the list that was here before we started talking. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think let me back up. I had higher peaks and valleys in my past list than I do in this list, but and so that makes me wonder about, is this a turn 3 list consistently, or is this a turn 4 list consistently? And should that change the way I play, I politic, and I mulligan?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the deck plays. There's a responsible angle in which this deck plays because you run an appropriate amount of counterspells and you run a board wipe and all those things. You can do that and you can sit behind a value engine and play responsibly, but also
Yeah,
you have the tools to just be very, very proactive. Um,
yeah,
and I think your mana generation and your resources throughout the mid game, because ultimately this is a mid range deck, and like while you want to have those explosive turns and those things, um, you need that mana, and like you need the surplus of mana for a larger plan like Kefka. Um,
mm-hmm.
One card that I don't see that I would really consider is Bergie,
Yeah,
and mostly for the backside, not for the front side.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Although this deck does really good work with the front side.
It does. Um, who goes?
But I don't know what I would swap at the moment for that. The other thing is
Um,
Pyroblast, but I don't know if that's worthwhile as well.
yeah, where I was actually having a big old debate about Pyroblast today. Um, my mind keeps jumping to this just because, well, uh,
It's gonna play a little differently because like think of how many red pieces we just added. Um,
yeah.
we added dual caster Stormkill, Facebreaker, Molten Dupe. The Jessica's Will,
Is it
it
a ritual or is it just
at minimum it's a ritual. If it's more than that,
okay?
great.
Sure. Yeah. If it's 4, then it makes sense. If it's
But it's
okay,
never just 4 though. It ideally it's never 4, right?
okay, okay. Um, if I'm being greedy, then it's Fire Covenant that goes.
What's next to Dark Rit?
Searching. Oh, this is a daze.
Oh, yeah, I think that could go.
What? Okay.
I hate days, man.
Uh,
There's so many smothering ties out. People just pay. There's no way that you can
at the
keep
end
them.
of a counter war. Oh, I
Nah,
guess people are drawing in the middle of the counter war. Huh? Yeah.
I think that Bergie is an infinitely more powerful card than Days here.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
like, what is that one card? Oh, yep, it's that.
Where are you at, Bergie?
Okay, what the next thing I want to look at, we just move on to, is you had made a comment about your early game and your mulliganing into nothing.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so what I think we
There's
did, we added a bunch of these 2 to 3 mana pieces that should smooth out mulligans. Do you have the
yeah,
tool down at the bottom? You just scroll all the way down.
yeah. Um, my what a strange looking curve. My moles will be straight up Grixis Storm Heat, or um, I like once I get to mole like 5, I start to hone in on like, all right, well, I guess I'll cast the Kefka. Like I'm looking for Kefka or Ristic at that point.
Mm-hmm. In order to
Moles 7 and 7, I kind of don't care. It's like whatever the best engine that is presented, then I'll reach for that one. I,
in order to start evaluating a list, and like I know we made significant changes.
yeah.
When you're presented with 7 cards like this, let's start at 5 and say this is your mult of 5. Would you keep this on
Okay.
5?
That's an interesting experiment. Why not? Why wouldn't I keep this? Why would I keep this? Let's start there. I would keep this. There is a slow tutor that gets me to, at best, a Remora, or at best, a turn 4 Kefka if you top deck a land. I probably mull this.
I think it's
This looks
turn.
like a mull.
Is it turn 3 Kefka?
Turn 1 Soul Ring, turn 2 Facebreaker, turn 3 I have 4 mana.
Let's hit that playtest button there.
Sure.
All right. So, having not drawn any cards, what are we binning? Okay, yep, exactly. So we can just leave
Thanks,
them
dude.
there.
Yeah.
Your slow tutor is what you do first. You don't do Soul Ring.
Sure.
I think.
Soul Ring.
Yeah.
This grabs me a.
I think it grabs you a land.
It has to be a land. If I'm gonna go turn 3 Kefka, right?
Right, but this is us planning, having not drawn a card. So
Yes.
we're
Yeah,
doing
no,
mental planning for whether we keep this or not. At worst, MCO draws us or gets us to like an underground sea.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then you turn to UC Soul Ring Facebreaker,
Uh-huh.
and then turn 3 swing Facebreaker Kefka.
And then there's the Kefka.
Right,
Okay.
but that's again worse.
But now I'm tapped out and praying that I make it to a turn 4.
Right, but you're on a mold 5. So sometimes
Yeah,
it's
okay,
hard
so
to be
that's-
proactive when you're down on cards.
Okay. There is how I've been killing myself. But we're experiencing it live. I would have said, nope, turn 3 Kefka is too slow. I don't see a turn 4. Go deeper.
And what happens is sometimes you don't, but those are circumstances that are what I would classify as out of your control. You can only try to smooth out what you can with the knowledge that you're given, right? So you have these 5 cards. I see a plan. Is it like an S tier plan? No, it's like a B minus plan. And sometimes that B minus isn't good enough when someone has an S tier plan, and you lose that game. Sometimes you don't, because you're like, oh, my plan was bad, but somebody got stopped, and like my bad plan is actually carrying me now.
I dig it. Okay.
So competitive play from my perspective is about minimizing risk for the most part. Sometimes you have to play risky. That's totally understandable. But if you're able to minimize the risk, you're smoothing out your experience through Swiss, through Top Cut, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And so going back to your question, I think that's what we did with the deck here is we minimized risk.
And that's my style. So I know that not everyone plays in that style. But I do find that like while I'm not like the top 10 players, like I'm ranked 98 on ELO, I'm ranked 18 for the season. But my experience is I don't really have a bad time at any tournament I go to, because I'm always able to consistently do something or participate in games. And that's really what I'm looking for. And then I rely on my personal skill to carry me through the rest of the way.
Right. Which I think is how you're supposed to. That second piece is how you play Commander.
Yeah.
The cards. Like if you pass 4 people, the same exact deck, the best skilled player is gonna likely win that game.
Mm-hmm. On a 5, do you
Um,
keep this hand?
it's way too slow.
Right, but then,
Slow.
but also let's consider we're mulling to 4 after.
Oh, what did we just talk about, Nate? Um, okay, so if I'm keeping a game plan that lets me play the game, it lets me play the game and then have a chance to find a door. This is a card that makes sense. This is a card that makes sense. This is a card that makes sense. This is a card that wins the game but does nothing until that point, and then this is mana stability. So maybe my 5 looks like those 5 cards. I'm shuffling around on this, but I think I think a turn 3 heuristic
If a gun
allows me
were
to
to my
play.
head and I were to say keep this 5, I think I would probably either keep that or keep 3 lands. Um,
Yeah.
Now that said, I might be convinced to do 3 lands, signet, and a study. But that said, this is not a good enough 5 to keep. I know that our deck is better than this,
Right.
so
Right.
I would pitch this and mull for 4.
All day. I think I could taste it. I'm willing to die on turn 0 if it means that I had a chance at winning or excuse me, playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
right?
This is why I hate Arena.
Because it does nothing.
It not only does nothing, but you are actually like, this is a good hand, or this is a good enough for if it's not Arena, right?
Yeah, this is some
So
not
like
basic land.
my
Any
deck
of
building
the
style,
blue.
yeah, my deck building style, I would rather run Orchard than Arena, or Forbidden Orchard even, than Arena.
Forbidden Orchard in this economy? Um,
It's
okay.
just a multicolor land, right? That's or even Tarnished Citadel, like whichever one you'd prefer.
I'd run Tarnished. I'm not given Cradle or you
Okay, so
farm any
let's
food
say
whatsoever.
we've got our 4. That's a Tarnished Citadel. Let's ship those 3 back, right?
Uh-huh.
And now we do kind of have to like hope that we draw a land or draw a mana source.
Yeah, because you don't do this and then kill your ritual, right?
Right. That doesn't, because then you're in the same spot of hoping for a mana source, right?
Yeah. You just hope.
And that's hoping is okay on a 4, but you don't want to be hoping on a 7 or a 6 or a 5.
Sure.
So what do we draw for turn?
This card. So tarnished. This is a tarnished.
Right. A Tarnished does get us there, kind of, right? Because we what does it?
Instep. Who do we get? Who's our friend? Did you get a Cabal ritual? Flub the mana and Cabal into a talisman into a Ristic for
Yeah.
turn 2?
That's literally what you have to do.
Yeah.
But that's a
Okay.
plan. That's a plan, right?
Yeah. And it's a turn 2 engine. It checks the boxes. If you weren't sitting here in my what was that? If you weren't sitting here and that was my hand, I would have gone to 3.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think Mulligan's really set the tone for what happens to you and your mindset as a player. And then if you extend that backwards to deck building decisions, I try not to look at things in an idealistic manner, because while Arena was like, wow, this is really cool. I can get Kefka out with haste. I can get 2 Kefka triggers, all the kind of stuff. That's fine. But when it comes down to tournament time, if I draw the Arena there, I'm so mad at myself for like including it, because I'm like, I could be winning this game or at least participating. Otherwise, now I can't.
Yeah. So If you were, what do I say? What is my question? Why would you play Kefka? Why would you bring Kefka to a tournament?
I would play it because I like it. I mean, there's just some things that I like or I believe in, or things that I feel are strong. Um, I have my own Kefka list that I haven't play tested, and literally last night I was working on Kefka with Gold Sabertooth and
Oh yeah.
working with him on that. And I think that like the deck is good, but you know, I'm a wrong Psy enjoyer, and that's kind of where my Grixis is at the moment.
I see. Okay. I looked at Gold Saber's list like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we just changed it a bunch last night, but I'll show you that a little bit after we're done playtesting and stuff here. I don't want to take time away from you.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts here if we're doing the same exercise and keeping a 5?
Um, YOLO the turn 2 Necro. That doesn't convert well, actually.
I don't think that's a
Actually,
good.
that's not it. It's not a turn 2 Necro anyway, because I spend the black to make 2. It only makes 2 black mana, so it's not a turn 2 Necro anyway. This
It's actually a decent plan because you have Facebreaker. You can get a turn 2 Facebreaker, turn 3 Necro.
is like this here, and then the next turn.
Yeah, with Rain of Filth, technically gets you there.
Yeah.
Or does it? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it does get you there.
There'd be a treasure. It does. You Necro with no lands, and I think Necro enjoys having, is it 5 mana?
No, but this is a value Necro at this point.
Yeah.
So you're necroing for
understand
like
that
7 to refill your hand, and then you have Facebreaker to generate your mana. Hopefully you play a land, right? And then you continue playing the game as normal. But it is a plan.
It is a plan. Is it the plan, or can this list do better on a 5?
On a 4 would be.
On a 4.
I don't think it can. I mean, I think it can, but I think the chances are bad. So let's try it and just play out like a hand or like a turn or two.
Sure. We get rid of these two.
And before you ship those two, one other option is just don't Rain of Filth and just hope that you draw another land and then keep Flood Maul. Or keep Fierce, because if you don't cast anything, then you can just hard cast Fierce.
That's true. Turn 3 could look like I just attack, depending on how life treats us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we draw this card for turn. Cool.
It's not the worst.
It looks like that for the turn 1, and then looks like this for the turn 2.
Well, and you draw one more.
We do draw 1. That's fine.
And that's good because you have Facebreaker, so you can generate the red necessary for the blast.
Mm-hmm. And this is also a red too. This is probably a Badlands, right?
Right.
And then turn 3, we know Grixis. We know we have the treasure from attacking on turn 3.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty unfortunate. So like this is a bad spot, but at least you have counter magic.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, you're representing Fierce and Red Blast. If
like,
you
like this, right? So in this manner, should things go absolutely south and you die, right?
Right.
Okay.
Like you're seeing the vision, right? You're seeing like there's more flexibility in what we're doing here, and like, yeah, we haven't hit those like explosive turn 2 Kefka things, but you were talking about let's have an engine or let's mull for something, some sort of game plan.
Yes, yes. I'm what we're seeing off rip is that an early face breaker, is giving us options,
Right.
but there's no lands here.
Unfortunately, I have to mold a 4 on this.
What we're going for? Oh,
Oof. That's
almost
rough.
cool.
Actually, no, it's
Wait,
right.
no,
It's
no.
there. It's
Wait,
there.
wait. We got it. We
Yeah.
got there. There's our 4.
Sheesh.
Okay.
Okay, so let's keep this. Let's play it out and see what we do on 4.
Sure. I'll bottom that instead of dragging him over for now.
Yeah,
We
that's
draw
fine.
this card. I don't know. Thank you, Sandbag
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
cavern. It looks like this. There's our turn 1.
And let's say we draw 2 from Remora.
Generith. We'll draw 2 for Amora and 1 for turn.
Before you draw 1 for turn, you got to pay for your Remora.
I do have to pay. I do have to pay. We would pay in this manner.
Yep.
We draw the 1 for turn. I'll just go that way so it untaps for me.
Mm-hmm.
We know we drew that. And
this looks like a Kefka angle to me.
it does look like Kefka. And so this is the sexier card to do the thing. This goes to there. We discard that. We have this is tapped down because we paid for our fish. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the Kefka. So turn 1 Ristic, turn 2 Kefka.
Yeah, turn 1 Mystic, turn 2 Kefka. Yeah.
Whatever this card is named.
Yeah, who knows, really. And then you'll probably draw 2 to 3 off, like probably 3 off Kefka. And
Yeah,
then I don't.
With an instant, I draw 2 probably.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm discarding instant, I draw 2.
And then 2 off of
2.
Remora.
Damn, your meta feeds the shit out of this remark. Okay, we have this. This is what we drew for our turn 2.
Now, doesn't this look like a win to you on turn 3?
Old. 3 tutors.
3 tutors in a land, yeah. And you have how much mana? 7?
Yeah, we win here. Especially in second main, because we draw a couple more cards.
Right.
Yeah, this is awesome.
But
This is
again, that was on a 4. So
on a 4.
we're looking to be efficient, right? Because we can't be as efficient as Rogsai, but you still have to play efficiently and stack the deck in. Cards need to like make resources. They either need to tutor or they like need to win. There's really no, I don't see much room outside of those things.
Yeah.
You know. And before you drew Demonic Tutor and Beseech, I'm like, okay, well, Step Through kind of gets you like Harmonic Prodigy here.
It does.
Which is sick in itself, right?
Yeah, we would, like, let's say people were super responsible, didn't pay for this fish, or didn't draw with the fish.
Yeah.
We'd pay for the Ristic with Soul Ring, keep the Mystic with Soul Ring.
Sure.
And
those would be untapped. You can hit the T button to untap, I think.
I see. We pay for this with Soul Ring.
Mm-hmm.
We would draw. Let's be mean. We didn't draw those cards. We drew this card for turn.
That's pretty good too.
So we have the Mystic. We have a 4 mana. We have 5 mana. And then I want a Harmonic, so I can do it this way. I go 2. Excuse me. Harmonic is a wizard. Let's go 2 this way for the Step Through.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do with the wizard magic, playing the Harmonic out.
Yep.
The Step Through is a Harmonic now. We go to attack. We discard. Another instant. Draw 2.
Draw 3 maybe?
We draw 3 on this. We'll draw 3. How about that? And then second trigger,
we'll pitch a land because we already played land.
Ooh, thank you. We do this, and then land is also another one that I tend to draw 2 on, but
sure.
We'll draw. Oh yeah, land and instant seems to be draw 2. Anything else seems to be draw 3.
Yeah, that's that's a reasonable metric that I'm not aware of because I don't play the deck.
Oh, everyone has 28 of those and 28 of those, right?
Sure.
Um, so cool. We're in business here. We second main a Lotus Petal.
I think you just hold
I
the
think
talisman.
I sit so pretty here, yeah, because this is likely a discard next turn,
Right.
especially if like with this
And you're still
harmonic.
sitting behind a Remora.
I'm still sitting behind a Remora. Yeah. Yeah.
This is exactly where you want to be. Unfortunately, like the card quality in your hand is not that good, but
This wins next turn, though.
there's definitely like worse places that you've been. I don't know. Does it?
Broodlord.
Okay, you entomb Broodlord.
With
Then
a
what?
bunch of mana.
How do you get it out?
Broodlord, Saw and a Half. Oh, I leave it there until I draw the rest of the way.
Well, I don't know. I just think you hope you draw a reanimate or something, and before you just rip an entomb. Like I guess you can rip an entomb, and that's fine. But
yeah, no. Next turn we know we draw for turn, and we draw 4 cards.
are you letting Remora die? Probably.
Probably. Granted, Remora right now. These two
You still have
cards
5 mana.
are keeping us in the game, so it probably
You're probably drawing
keeps it.
1 or 2 more off of Remora before your next turn anyway.
Yeah, we probably.
I think you pay with Cavern, honestly.
Keep the blue. Keep the blue.
Yeah.
Pay colorless only.
I mean, maybe you'll hit the other one, like the Thassa, right? But
sure. So we've been drawing 2 for Remora. This would go into turn 4.
There's a Thassa. Okay, well, but this is an indication of what you tap before like for the Remora, right?
Yeah, it looks like this.
That's really fucking funny.
Yeah. Double Entomb doesn't do anything, but still, I still keep the fish. If I draw and I'm sitting in my upkeep looking at this hand, I keep fish.
Sure. Yeah, because either of those lines are like really mana efficient. You don't need, and you have your 2 discards. You have Volcanic Talisman.
Yeah.
So let's just do that, and we'll finish on that. Just see if it gets us anywhere.
We attack. We discard artifact. We'll draw 3.
Unfortunate.
Yep. We discard a land. We draw 2.
Also unfortunate.
And this doesn't win. It doesn't
lose. Yeah. So you can pay for. Yeah, I don't think you can lose here. Like it'd be very hard. It's just like you lose to Abolisher. But I would play like City just to like, on the off chance you have to pay for 4 for fish again.
I see. You know what's coming. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but I mean, you see how this is like evolving into a plan, and you're like able to kind of get there, and not that, who knows if you're going to draw more or less. The one thing I would caution you with the Kefka plan is, if you're sitting behind Remora and you're attacking with Kefka, Remora becomes way worse.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I get these 2 cards down, there has been times where I'm like, I'll make deals, right? I won't attack with Kefka. This will hurt you guys, but I need X, Y, and Z to be happening to incentivize me to not draw some cards. I try to buy a turn with my words.
What I'm seeing here is that we're missing a piece in which we probably could have turned to win with Step Through.
Oh yeah.
We need Spellseeker.
Oh, Jinja. We are turning back the clock.
I know.
So then, it's funny that we played 4 games. We haven't even seen these cards.
It happens. Yeah, I mean,
it happens.
Yeah.
It's 100 cards. Let's find Spellseeker, but who's our cut?
Let's put Spellseeker in, and then we can figure out what our cut is. It could be Beseech. That's Snapcaster. It's close. Not quite.
Where is it?
I don't know if you have it in your. Looks like you don't have it.
That's wild. It has been in this list. Don't you worry.
I don't believe you. I think it's Beseech. Because Beseech is pretty, like, it's, while it's good, it's mana inefficient. And it literally is a 4 mana tutor and cast. And I think it's fine, but Spellseeker gets you Tainted Pact and Molten Dupe and Brain Freeze. It can even get you Flood Maw. Plus you can like reanimate it. You can like entomb a Spellseeker, reanimate it, and it can get you what you need. It's a little bit more flexible.
Mm-hmm. What about the uh, Underworld Breach or the Creature Tutor in Beseech? Like,
What do you mean?
well, Beseech can also just slam an Oracle or slam a Breach.
It definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's
Mana inefficient.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Well, the other option is like cut Waste Not.
Cut Waste Not. That was easy. Why didn't you say so?
And like Waste Not is probably like the worst card of our list, even though it's like it's not bad. It's totally fine. But
It's fine. It's fine. It's yeah, it's fine. I'd rather a tutor than
right.
the might maybes of Waste Not.
Spellseeker also gives you the opportunity to be very proactive if you get it in your opening hand.
It's true.
Unfortunately, you cannot get Jessica's Will or Mnemonic Betrayal, stuff like that, but
Sure.
or Saw in Half.
Or Saw.
But you can get Entomb, you can get Cabal Writ, Dark Writ,
Reanimate.
Decon.
It does get Molten.
Yep.
And
also just casting a Molten Dupe on a Spellseeker is not the worst thing.
because then it becomes a like limited detutor. What is the instant sorcery card that tutors sorceries to hand? Is there such a thing?
Isn't it Merchant Scroll?
Not at Merchant Scroll. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Merchant Scroll.
I'm liking where this is headed too. I think from what you've told me, and I know that we've had a pretty short conversation here, is that you're looking for ways to be proactive and ways to win, and also like smooth out your mulligans and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to just like take a baseball bat to people's knees. I want to put my foot through the door whenever I feel like picking up my foot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it really is like I want the cards to win the game at any moment, but I it's me, the player, that needs to make sure that they can win the game. You know what I mean?
I know that we're running like double the time, and that's fine with me. I didn't have anything particularly planned, but
I
I'm
was
thoroughly enjoying our conversation. What I wanted to do in the last 10 minutes or so, is there anything else you wanted to like take a second look at? Is there anything you want to recap, or did you want to talk about general, gameplay styles or politics or anything like that?
There is. So my tournament present or not presence, my tournament record is 0.00000. I've killed myself at the 3 tournaments I've attended. Um, Somehow Esper Sentinels with my Oracle ETB on the stack and stuff like that. Um, how would you recommend a how do I get out of how do I win my first game of that's not really the question. I want to win more often in tournaments. What is it that what is it that allows me to convert more wins? And I know that you aren't can't- you're not going to play the game for me. But where does my mind need to be?
Um,
I don't really know how to ask what I'm asking.
well, I think I get what you're asking. So you, I think what you've done so far is the correct thing. You've asked people that you have identified as being more knowledgeable than you for their opinions. You have asked the right questions about like, well, I guess you've identified things that you've struggled with your deck, and you've also identified how you want the deck to play. And I think those are really good starting points. And then once we've taken that knowledge and sort of shaped not only the deck, but also like your frame of mind of, let's take a look at the mulligans and see where this puts you. I think that your goal for tournaments shouldn't be like sitting down and like going, oh, I need to win this game. I need to win this game. What you need to do is you need to play cleanly. You need to mulligan correctly. You need to goldfish the hell out of your deck and figure out where the problems lie. Like that Arena of Glory thing that we just identified. And while Arena is probably fine and like that's the one variance case, but like if something keeps being that little thorn in your side in the way that you want to play or the way that you are playing, you need to figure out what the solution to those things are. Because what happens in the game, it's any number of things. Like there's so much variance. There's so many different decks you're going to come across. You can only rely on yourself and what your personal skill level or your goal or your deck is bringing to the table, right?
Yeah.
So if your deck is just like generically good, that's why like farm is really good, right? Because farm doesn't really play any bad cards.
Yeah.
I haven't really identified any cards in this list in particular outside of like maybe the dual caster and hoarding broodlord stuff that are like quote bad, but even those, they're not bad, they're just a little off kilter, and the deck supports them fine, so like we're not really worried about it. So I think your goal as a player is not to top 16 a tournament. Your goal is to sit down at every single game and say, well, like win or lose, I need to play correctly and like to my best ability as a player. If the win comes, great. If it doesn't, then like maybe there's some things that happen that are out of your control. But really start to hone in and focus on like the fundamentals, and the wins will come after.
I dig it. Okay. Yeah, the fundamentals. They are my biggest enemy. I think I have all the game theory in the world, but the fundamentals of the mechanical fundamentals. I throw myself in the tournament setting more often than my opponents do.
Well, it happens, and you know, knowing the win line is like one aspect, right? But if you know the win line in a vacuum, that's great. But as soon as you're faced with 3 other people, then you've got interaction and board state and all that context that you need to consider that is really hard to factor in until you just have more experience. And it's hard to get more experience if you're not able to attend tournaments regularly. It's hard to get more experience if you're not like winning games, right? Because then you're like, why am I even doing this? What am I doing that's, you know, maybe I'm doing something wrong, and like if I'm doing something wrong, I don't want to keep playing and just like bashing my head against the wall doing the wrong thing.
Right.
But I think I think the deck has the tools to get you there. How are you feeling about the way things sit right now versus like when you came into this conversation?
Um, it in terms of like my vibe with the deck, um, it looks like a hybrid between where I was 2 weeks ago and what I've learned since then, um, which is kind of cool. Like the only new card to this list at all is Manifold Key. Um, but it's kind of cool to blend the I know how Broodlord has felt to blend that into I know how Spellseeker has felt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dualcaster. It's cool to blend it, and then I don't have to kill myself. That's probably my biggest takeaway from talking to you for this double time is I don't have to kill myself if I have a game plan. Um,
Right.
and
Yeah. And
I've
sometimes
just
just
been
like
so comfortable.
I see a lot of new players or just players in general that are like maybe struggling a little bit with CDH where in a tournament they feel this colossal pressure to say like, well, I need to be doing something by turn X. And it's like, yeah, ideally you would, right? But I've seen Jason. I don't know if you know who Jason is, but he's part of our group at Critical EDH. He's rank like 4, and he plays Blue Farm. I've seen him
Yeah.
mull down to 2 because he doesn't have anything, and then he still wins that game because he keeps like land demonic tutor. But his deck is so consistent that he goes land demonic tutor, tutor for fish, or he goes land draw Matasaurus, demonic tutor, tutor for fish, play turn 2 fish, and just sit there and just pay for it. And if he doesn't get there, oh well, he doesn't get there. There's always game 2, right?
Sure.
But I think don't put too much pressure on yourself as a player who's just starting to enter the tournament scene, and you're wanting to convert those wins and take games off of people. That's going to happen, but it starts with, is your deck going to give you the tools to like play the game? Because if you're mulliganing down to nothing because you're like, oh well, this isn't fast enough, and my turn 3 Kefka is not fast enough, or my turn 3 Ristic Study is not fast enough, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it is. Sometimes that 5% of the time that it is, that starts to smooth out, and like, oh, all of a sudden you won a game, right? And you're like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't have won that game, but like on the other hand, maybe you should have.
Yeah. Yeah. I can dig it. That's easily my biggest takeaway is I don't have to kill myself. I've been fully willing to. Like, well, this 5, and I have said that to myself, this 5 is not fast enough. Might as well find a 4 that is, or a 3 that is. Or you know what? I'll find it too. Here's a land LED, and at some point I'll draw another land, and that will be a Kefka. That will at least draw me 2 more cards, maybe 3 more cards to like find a way to get out of the hole that I mold myself into.
Right.
But on the same hand, my experience has been I have lost in 2 ways, really. I've tapped out for Kefka and lost on the rotation, or I mold myself out of the game. I very rarely am playing a game behind a fish or a Ristic or a Kefka or like 2 tutors in my hand and not at least presenting wins and then just working on my mechanics for timing, right? Those games I'll take those on the I'll take those losses on the chin every time because I don't play enough to not make mechanical mistakes. But that wasn't the deck failing. That was me. That was me as a pilot needing to work on a few things. I'll take those.
Yeah. Let's close this out. Let's look at one last hand, and I want to hear sort of your thoughts, having reframed a lot of this. And then while you're going down and doing that, I do want to say to everyone that's watching or listening, if you've made it this far, thank you. But I do want to recognize that Kefka is a very unsolved deck, and there's a lot of different ways you can play it. My build is very significantly different than this, and it probably fits more to my play style. Um, and then Tim's build, what he was working on and the way he wants to play, that's really different too. Actually, what, let me send you those lists. That way you can just run a compare real quick and you can look. That's Tim's, and then this is mine.
We'll look at Tim's real quick, and
keep in mind, like I haven't played mine, but this is what I was just kind of.
23, the horror, the psych rift, the weak, the kitten, voice knot, commandeer, steel enchant. This is like right. Oh, he put them both in. That's clever. I like mana drain. I haven't seen Mishra's Workshop before. Okay, so what I'm seeing is he can lean away from Kefka, but if he sticks at Kefka, it's hard to. He just will trigger his way into a pseudo silence effect.
He just wants to win with Hullbreaker Horror. Like that's one of his favorite pieces. And like Kefka is a somewhat decent outlet to get through, Hullbreaker Horror once you can go off with it, right? Because you just start bouncing Kefka, and then your opponents don't have any hands, and then you have some cards in your hand. You'll probably get there.
Yeah. The kitten reversal clone.
Yeah, I mean he's on like mana drain, copy enchantment, steel enchant, like.
Yeah. This screams to me like if I stick this Kefka, I will. How do I say that? Like I will draw so many cards that you can't keep up with me.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we go to you. Yog Tiny, Burning Kitten, Commandeer, the copies. Soul Cauldron.
Yeah.
Are you stealing dorks?
Either that or just Ranger Captains, right?
This is kind of the similar sense, except for you care far, far less about a Kefka. You're like, cool, it's there. This looks like
I think Kitten's like a decent enough card to just make mana with, right? But
yeah. You're this is kind of a cool synergy. You're making some mana with Kitten and Waste Knot. You're digging around.
Kitten,
this says I don't care about Kefka.
Kitten plus Ether Channeler also assembles a Hullbreaker Horror, because every time you cast a rock, you bounce it with Ether. You bounce Ether Channeler, and then you bounce that rock back to your hand.
Little baby Rift or Hullbreaker. That's true. It works exactly the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's got the same mana cost between the two of them, which is really funny.
That's clever.
So, yeah, again, you can just see some of the
cards that jump. Is the Artist Talent and the Soul Cauldron jump out at me.
And a lot of people ask me like, why are you on Soul Cauldron? I'm like, well, I don't know. Kefka's making people discard stuff, and just like everyone forcefully putting something in the yard, even if a Ranger Captain ends up there, I can activate, Soul Cauldron, put a counter on something I don't care about, or even Kefka, and just have another Ranger Captain. It seems decent.
I didn't see what he wasn't running, but Imposter Mech. I know that you don't do the crunch your life things as a player.
I think Necro is fine. I like it's obviously an incredible card. It's fine, but I actually like your version a little bit better than mine. I don't know that I'd run VV, but I do like your version the way it's sitting right now.
VV is one of those cards. I haven't seen it enough to. The Ghost is still out of them. I will say publicly, when I saw VV, I was like, oh, this just goes in every single deck that has counter spells. It's a blue-red mana dork.
I think you'll
But
find that Stormkiln will outperform VV.
I wonder. Yeah, because it does the same at instant speed.
It does the same kind of.
It's
Uh,
like somewhere in between a Bergie and
the other
like
piece of
Bergie
advice
and
I'd give
Vivi had
you,
a baby.
if you can, Bergie on the backside is really where you want to be, not the front side.
Sure.
I
It's actually this is your Necropotence. Oh no, you're not even running it. But this is your Necropotence in terms of card velocity.
in wrong side, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The other aspect to your deck that we kind of secretly added is that your deck is way better at flipping Kefka.
That's true.
And
Yeah,
I
this
think
here,
that
this
flipping Kefka is a legitimate plan. Like that is actually way better than the front side of Kefka because it just draws you a ton more cards.
right. Oh, and the Facebreaker too. This does flip lots of Kefkas.
And Manifold Key, like, oh, I'm
And
gonna
the key.
untap my Mana Vault, and all of a sudden it's that much cheaper to.
It's true. Manifold plus Vault is 5 mana. That's easy.
Well, Manifold costs one, right? So you're a little down, but you can do it at instant speed too. So like, let's say you Manifold your Vault, you can tap. I see what you're saying. It's 5 mana because you can tap Vault and then untap it, then tap it again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, damn, did I count wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay. Well, cool, man. I really do appreciate this. And like I said, I sought you out on purpose. I I know that you're a different player and we were gonna smack together a different list. That's completely fine. You're right. None of us know. There might be 700 of us in the Discord.
Yeah.
None of us know how to play this deck yet. Well, or how to brew this deck to as close to perfect as perfect can be in a 100 card singleton.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many different brews that are everyone is 20 plus cards different.
Sure. But I think this list, the way it looks right now, is really dang proactive, and I think is solving a lot of the problems that you presented me with. Outside of Harmonic Prodigy, none of these cards care about Kefka. They interact well, but none of them really care.
Not at all.
So
And
you
now
could easily
with the
go into a
other
game, yeah, and just start being proactive without Kefka. And if the Kefka plan presents itself, great.
Sure. Actually, Harmonic is better now. Actually, we added 3 wizards
Yeah.
to the deck.
Harmonic
Whereas
Spellseeker is
before,
very, very real because you can get double Spellseeker into Decon and Tainted Pact.
sure. Yep.
Tainted Pact
Yep.
till you
Or
find
or
Thoracle, then you know,
and when? Um,
or double
yeah,
or double Spellseeker also finds what Tainted Pact and Brain Freeze. So you Tainted Pact until you find Breach.
yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. At worst, it goes demonic tutor pact negation. That's like the worst it does
dude, you can
in terms of like.
saw in half your Spellseeker.
Uh-huh. Yep. 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 Yeah. Saw in half the OBM was like a little quiet win con that I had with Windfall.
Sure.
It's just there.
But all that stuff is
Or
there. I
excuse
mean,
me.
Wheel of Fortune, Windfall are there just to like, oh, I don't have anything to do. Like here's this Wheel of Fortune, here's this Windfall.
Yeah. This is great. Let's end it so your editing doesn't
Oh, that's funny
get
that you think I
crazy.
edit. That's funny that you think I edit. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, okay, now that we've got this set, if you play on Cockatrice a ton and online, just keep in mind that like, it's different
the
playing
sideboard.
online than it is in person. So
Oh,
what's up?
what do you mean? I don't understand.
It's politics don't really happen online quite the same way they do in person.
Okay.
People love
I
to
don't
just
really have
jam
a
wins
local.
and stuff.
Oh, okay, okay.
But that said, are you in our league?
I am. I just joined it. I have 0 games
Oh,
in
well,
it so far, but I'm going to be playing this weekend.
sweet, cool. Well, I
So watch
hope to
out,
see you there.
people. I'm coming for the throat.
All right. Well, sounds good. I mean, thanks very much. Thanks for asking me for help and all this, and hopefully this was helpful to you in some way.
It was, it was. I love this commander. I really do love this commander. It was out of like literally out of my brain. The one in my head prior to this card being printed was more uh unfair, but this is pretty close to what I had imagined a commander, if I could make one, would be.
Okay.
Um, it was really cool when my friend sent me this. I was like, no way, we talked about this like a year and a half ago. There's no way.
Yeah, well,
Um,
report back. Let me know how it goes because we can always, go back to the drawing board, modify some stuff if you're finding stuff that doesn't work or whatever. I would start to take notes too, like in your games, like, oh, I kept this. Was this a good keep or that type of thing? Because like coaching and these sessions are really like the one offs are fine, but really to like get the most out of it, like feel free to reach out to me and say like, hey, this is what I experienced or I had this and it went well, or I had this and it like didn't work quite the way we thought, that kind of thing. Because it's always gonna, things are gonna change, right? Or we can talk about things in theory, but in reality, sometimes they don't always work or line up that way.
yeah, I mean, full transparency, I plan on reaching out to the three of you again and Thanksgiving era, because
Cool.
that way I can get, a few dozen games in prior to ever talking to anyone again, because the gameplay is just going to be, it's going to be the telling tale, right?
Yeah.
So
All
I
right.
appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Um,
you're welcome.